Welcome back to the ARTtech seminar. Our next speaker is the founder of Touchdown Creations, and he will be talking about creating digital entertainment and developing games with an artistic twist. So, from Touchdown Creations, please welcome Juho Kastemaa.
Thank you. Hello everybody, how are you? My name is Juho Kastemaa, and I would like to ask a question. Would you like to play also non-violent games? And would you like to develop non-violent games on your own? The purpose of my presentation is to inspire young developers to develop their own games, and also showcase my own game called Odyssey VR, the Deep Space Expedition. That is a retail game available on Steam at the moment. It's a VR game. In the end of my presentation, I will show you some tips and tricks how you can easily go into the development mode and start creating your own games. It's actually really easy. But also, if you are publishing a game, it makes sense that you actually start probably a company, and that's also a not so hard thing to do. All right. So my name is Juho. I come from Finland. I'm one of these VR game developers in Finland, and I graduated with a master's degree at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. Before that, I was studying in Haaga-Helia University in Finland and graduated there. I also studied pretty internationally, also 1 year in the United States and also in Australia. And my master's thesis was about emotion recognition of virtual characters in augmented reality. So I was involved in many software development projects and gaming projects before I graduated, and I really wanted to create a game. So why VR and why AR? So VR is virtual reality. I think it's the best way to immerse yourself in the gaming world and experience things in a fuller way. It's totally different than playing a game or experiencing from a regular desktop. It's totally different. And handling these situations like sustainability and also biodiversity, hopping into another world completely, experiencing something in space, that's possible in virtual reality. And I think that's excellent format for non-violent games as well, because the experience is so hard. Here, last week I was in another exhibition, and I have this role-playing figure here. So I think that traditional art and very technical game development has really some similarities. So basically, in this character, you can see some shading and lighting added there. So it looks much more realistic, and it looks even more 3D, even if it's in real life, if you attach those elements there. So can you see those darker shades in the costume, and can you see those lighter elements in the costume as well? I'm going to show you that the same elements work in the gaming world as well. So surprisingly, the computer algorithms work in the similar way to show you those different shades and lightings and occlusions and transparencies. It's called post-processing. All right, I have a own company called Touchdown Creations, and there we do these things. So on the left picture, I'm with my friend Rhino in Pasila. And there you can see that there is no shade, no shadows casting from the animal, but I'm casting a shadow. And on the right picture, actually a little bit post-processing, Photoshop, etc. You can see that there is some shades coming out of the rhino. And also can you see the horn and ear. Those small details make that just more realistic. So I'm going to tell you a secret, actually, that the rhino is not real. So it's a lot about failing. I've been running this since 2014 part-time, and this year I started running this more seriously, kind of. So it's a lot about failure, about creative process, and everything. If you create something new all the time, there is a possibility that you are going to fail sometimes. So it makes sense to kind of gather back you together and start again and do the thing again. So then you learn. Even if you have failed, you can start again and do the thing again. So now I'm going to show you a video on my things, what I've been up to during the last few years. Here you go. All right. Those were the things. And yeah, Finnish game development. So VR scene in Finland is very small. We only have some developers and few entrepreneurs. And actually, many people in Finland, they want to create games, but they are not entrepreneurs or interested in entrepreneurship. Because developing games is a little bit different thing, and entrepreneurship has really something else. You have to do a lot of different things when you are running a company and retail game. Publishing something on Steam, it makes sense that you actually have a company and have the revenue and this sort of things. It becomes easier, and it's not failure all the time. So I have had many experiences here in Finland that people have interested in starting businesses. But then they step aside, and when we start discussing about marketing things, doing contracts, discussing about profit share, something like that, that's something to learn about as well. There is also a fear of risk-taking that some Finnish people, I've been experiencing that's quite common in Finland as well. And I've seen also many people, in my experience, feel ashamed of the work they have done, even though it's the world-class work. So Finnish people are really good in this area. They shouldn't be. And next up, it's about my Odyssey VR, that we had many people involved here. And it's about multiplayer space adventure game that you can play with a desktop or PC, and it's available on Steam. It all started in Australia a couple of years ago, where I got to learn more about Unity3D and game development, and how the astronauts feel in space and how they experience the flare effect and these sort of things. So we started this about 1 year ago after that project. And this is a trailer about Odyssey VR.
After efforts to save planet Earth failed, and the Earth was no longer able to sustain life, humans looked to space for answers. The quest to find a planet that could sustain life would be a long one, and so, humans built a temporary outpost in space, where they could breathe, sleep, do research, and cooperate together. This was a new stage of existence for humans, who had to adapt to life in space. Still, the outpost could not sustain human life forever, and so the search for a new home continued. Proceed to the gate at once so that you may begin exploration.
And there are several underlining things that were really important in the development of Odyssey VR. It has to be kind of non-violent, no killing and this sort of thing. Less addictive, so it's more like an experience. You don't have to go back to the game hundreds of times and experience it. It has to be audio-visual, so multimodal experience. Sustainability to the story and biodiversity, why human race had to go to the space in order to preserve the fundamental things of the people, of the plants they wanted to preserve, and in order to find something better to live on. It's also available for desktop and VR, so for us, it was very important that it works in very many different platforms. And one important thing was that it has something to learn about science and some fact to learn during your play. We had 4 people involved in this, and I was handling most of these, and then we have a special guy who handled the more important things. For example, we had voice actors.
Evacuate the spaceship.
Like this, we put them to the game. We had a maestro music designer as well.
Evacuate the spaceship.
And the game was scripted using C#. And we also had some testers there. So that was really important throughout the game design. The engine we used was Unity3D. As you can see on the top left image. Then we had some graphics. We used some free software for the graphics and 3D. We had Guy for art and design and animations as well. And this is about the early version of the prototype of the mothership on the left. And on the right side, you can see the current version of the story, some artwork, and even NPC characters. Here on the left, you can see the build, the early build that we had. We were setting up some sounds there using Unity3D environment. On the right, we were having issues with FPS. So frames per second is really important when developing for VR and for desktop and for games overall, because it's important it works in many platforms and the framework is really good. So models has to be optimized well. Here we have some images, early images from the game, some plantations there and greenhouses. very old cockpit based on the year unknown, and on the right side there is the newer version of the cockpit. Here we have actually some lighting and shading on the right side. As you can see, there is no lighting and shading on the right photo. So the left photo is the newer version. Looks cooler and nicer. Here is a little bit about the multiplayer game, and 2 players are playing multiplayer game in Act 1 in our game. And just yesterday there was a VR booth that it was possible to actually test the game with many people, and this participant over there on the right was actually successfully, he actually went there and successfully finished the game for the first time in a multiplayer mode. So I was really happy with that. And they also provide great feedback throughout the process. All right, and yeah, I would really like to announce or start a trend. I hope to start a trend of non-violence in serious gaming in VR, because I wish that people could actually create something, because there are so many great games that are non-violent game in VR. So here is a little audio clip. So new trend of non-violence in serious gaming. Nice. What you can do, you can join the community of developing Odyssey VR or other games. We could do some cooperation together. It's available on Steam Early Access. Check that out. Provide feedback and review. Play in VR with the desktop or computer. And start learning the tools. I will show you actually how easy it is to start actually developing your own games from scratch. And also start building serious games. Thank you. Actually, right now we could go to a little tutorial, and after that there would be a question and answer. So yeah. Next up, I will show you how easy it is to build a basic 3D table using Paint 3D. It can be any kind of software, but I will use Paint 3D because it's going to be in many computers already. And the thing is that you can use those 3D objects in many game engines, and also you can see those objects in virtual reality and in augmented reality too. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. All right, I will open Paint 3D software. And everything in 3D and game development usually starts with a cube. That's what I've heard. So here is a basic cube that we have. So we are creating a table, right? So let's move this here a little bit, this here. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. If you click on Control-C, it goes back, okay? Like this. All right, what do we need next? We need the legs. So we go to 3D shapes. We click on cylinder. Actually, we can change this to polished metal and give it a nice color. Something like this. And now we can draw these things here. This is pretty good. I can move it here. Duplicate this with Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. Let's do like this. Let's duplicate this again. Let's duplicate this again. Select all. Go this side, select this one. Move the leg to the right, move the leg to the left. Go to another side. Click on that, move the leg to the right. Move the leg to the left. Perfect. And then we have a basic table here. I would say that's even faster than in Blender. All right, then what we can do is to add some texture, some material on it as well. So let's move this like this. Then go to stickers. And we have some material textures here as well. Click on the wood and start putting these here. Oops. Actually, you can do this a little bit bigger. Like this. And then remember the sides as well. So click Ctrl-A, move this a little bit. And as you can see, this is a little bit blue still. Go to stickers. Yep, here it is. I will do just the one side of this. So now it's pretty much done. So you can see the basic table is here. You can move it like this. Perfect. So what you can do is to open this straight away in Unity. So basically, Unity is a game engine that you can open and start building your own games after you have some models. Add some scripts to it or anything you want. So let's wait a little bit. And here is Unity3D. And now I have already drag and dropped the basic table to Unity3D scene. As you can see, it's here as a form of game object. Unity3D is based on game objects that you can modify. You can add scripts on top of the table. You can do pretty much anything to the table. So you can make it bigger. You can move the lighting a little bit. You can do everything here. So it starts here. And remember to save as well. And it already has actually all the materials there. So you don't need to mess with materials anymore because you have done them in external programs like Blender or Paint 3D or Maya or whatever you use. All right, thank you very much. And now, do you have any questions?
Well, maybe I can start and ask you a question about what inspired you to create the game? Or I know you have a theme for non-violence and all these things, but were there any other inspiration for this specific game?
Yes, yes, there was. I was thinking the world was kind of, well, I'm always been super interested in space because it gives so much space to imagination and people don't know much about the environment. How does it feel to be in space? What kind of problems can be there that are, how do the physics work, how does the gravity work, but also kind of story-wise, I was really interested in sustainability and biodiversity, and also what happened in the dystopic world after the whole world was destroyed by humans and they had to go to space. So it was this kind of experience, yeah. Any other?
Do you first come up with mechanics for your game and then build the story and everything around them, or do you first think like about story and what kind of mechanics could help to provide the story for the players?
Do you mean like mechanics? Did I come up with the story first, or
do you first think about, okay, I want to have portal guns that shoot portals, and then start doing a story on top of it? Or are you like, I want story where the player finds out about some mystery and it's hard to get, and then you think, oh, portals could help on that journey. So
that's really good questions. That's a really good question. Yeah, in Australia, actually, I was creating some experiments, space experiments, and actually I realized what could be the basic elements of gaming, collecting points or destroying stuff and getting results and improving all the time. So I got the idea from there, and then the story for the game improved after that when I added the values that I had, kind of the sustainability, biodiversity, and also from other games I've been playing before I created this. So then I started sketching the ideas, what could possibly happen in the spaceship, why the people are there, and why and how they should go out from the mothership to the actual spaceship. Should it include multiplayer? Is it fun? It's lots of testing and trying out.
If we don't have more questions, thank you very much, Juho.
Thank you.